Welcome back to the Open Wheel Offline League Season 5, round number 9. Getting close to the halfway point in the season, and we are in Belgium at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for the second time in series history. First time since Season 3, as let's go through your starting grid for today's race. Starting at the back of the grid in row 14, neither of these guys got to set a lap time in their groups. Devlin DiFrancesco will be at the back of the field with Tinkle McStinkle in a new paint in the light blue and black cars starting from 27th once again. Row 13 will have the double zero of Glubler Lore, miserable qualifying effort for him. And then Nico Hulkenberg, Glubler this week just trying to keep it on the ground. Row 12, Miles Rowe, going to be on the outside, and then to his inside will be the 54 of Mahavir Raghunathan. Then up to row 11 is the 76 of Ethan Martz and the 04 of David Malukas coming off his best result of the season, which is only 13th. Hopefully for him it can get better from there. Row 10, Dawa Tenzin going to be on the outside with Francesco Draconi on the inside as he currently holds the Rookie of the Season lead over Justin Allgaier. Row 9, Robbie Lore going to be starting on the outside. Then to his inside, Lawless Allen got his best road course result at Hockenheim last race, finished 11th, and is no longer 26th in the standings. Row 8, the winner of the first time that we came here is actually his debut race, Benjamin Peterson in the number 29, trying to go 2 for 2 today, but he's going to be starting back in 16th, unlike the last time where he started on the pole. Then Stingray Rob has his best road course qualifying effort of the season, going to be rolling off from 15th. Row 7, Carlos Huertas has his best qualifying effort so far in his third start, coming off a surprise 6th place finish at Hockenheim, looking for a good result. And Brennan Hubbard will be on the inside, starting from 13th. Row 6 will be Banshees of Little Miami cars, Lindsey Brewer on the outside, and Alessio Deletta trying to keep his top 5 streak alive through the last few races, 4th and 5th. He's going to be starting from 11th, which is where he started at the Hockenheim. Row 5 on the outside is the 43 of Dorian Pin. And then to her inside is going to be the number 90 of Guy Gagne, as they both sit 5th and 6th in points, only 2 points separate the two. Row 4, also pretty close in points. It's going to be Louis Foster on the outside in 8th, and then Nolan Siegel on the inside in 7th. Just barely missed out on the Fast 6 by 1,000th of a second. Row 3 on the outside, his first Fast 6 of the season for Ryan Preece in the 64. And then to his inside, going to be the 14 of Justin Allgaier. Going to try and have a decent result this time out. Only has 2 top 10s on the season, both being podiums. Inconsistency really plaguing that team as he's 14th in the standings. Row 2 on the outside, it's going to be Chet Jordan trying to rebound after what should have been a podium, honestly, at the Hockenheim. Ended up being a 16th place finish. And then Connor Zilich going to be on the inside, starting third. And then your front row, it's the same from last week. Shane Van Gisbergen and Marcus Armstrong. Marcus Armstrong still looking for his first road course victory. All 3 of his previous wins have come on ovals. And then Shane Van Gisbergen, if he gets a win here, that will be the most wins in one season by one driver. He currently holds the record at 4, tied at the Hockenheim last week. So we are in Spa for the second time. Track length 4.35 miles, second longest track on the schedule. 25 laps for about 110 miles. Sim time takes place June 14th at 2 p.m. Take a look at the driver's standings. Van Gisbergen is out to over 1 race length over Marcus Armstrong, pulling away. Uh, Armstrong is going to try and close that back in, but the team standings, Swindlers of the Immortals taking a pretty sizable lead. That's going to be tough to overcome for anybody. So we line up in rows of 2. Let's take a look at your weather really quick coming into this race. 66 degrees, pretty cool. Cloudy, 63% humidity, pretty much no wind gonna be a factor today. Let's take a look at your tire choices. Starting with Marcus Armstrong. Let's go on board. He's going to be going on the mediums, typically the safe choice. Van Gisbergen going to be on the hards, which that's not what he started with at Hockenheim. Going to be interesting to see what he does with it. And then top 3 all going different, as Connor Zilic will be starting on the softs. Going to be looking to go for the lead early in the race. Chet Jordan also going to be on softs. Justin Allgaier on softs. Ryan Preece is going to be on hards. Nolan Siegel will be on softs. Louis Foster on softs. Gagne on hards. Pin will be on the softs. And then Deletta will be on the mediums and Brewer on the softs. Surprisingly, the medium's not a very popular choice at the front of the grid. Usually they're the safest option, but not many drivers are going for it. Gonna have to see how that shakes out with Armstrong being the only one in the top 10 on the mediums. A lot more hards being chosen than what you'd usually expect to see. Also, no cars decided to come into the pits early on, so no pit lane starts. So all 28 cars are going to be taking the grid where they're supposed to be. So second time we've been in Belgium. First time was an interesting race. A first time winner in just his debut. Could it be another first time winner today? Will Van Gisbergen set the record book and try to set sail onto a I can't count, third championship? Can Marcus Armstrong get back involved in the championship? Can anyone not from Swindlers of the Immortals win a race this season? They have won, I believe, 6 out of 8, with only Armstrong and Draconi being the 2 not from that team. Viking Racing still winless, Team Egg still winless. A lot of guys at the back of the grid that want to make up some good points to stay in the leader circle. So pace car about to pull off into the tight pit lane. And we will go into the chicane. As Marcus Armstrong gonna bring us to green. A big jump for the inside line. The outside line doesn't go once again all the way to the back. They're gonna go. A terrible start for the outside line. Chet Jordan still has not really gotten accelerated, and Van Gisbergen has lost a spot. He's dropped down to third. Everyone on the outside line has dropped down tremendously. Is Connor Zilic going to go by Shane Van Gisbergen? A little concerningly at the start, it looked like Van Gisbergen may have gotten to the line before Armstrong, so he may have gotten penalized. We're going to have to wait and see. A very strange start to this race as the field gets shuffled up early on. Van Gisbergen going to try and go around the outside here to take second, as this whole group still is not going. They're acting like it is still under yellow. Not quite. Is this the same thing that happened at the bend? Kind of like a fake out start. I'm a wee bit confused. Down the alarm, iRacing is broken again. So something has seriously gone wrong on iRacing's behalf. Now it's saying it's green. Don't know what that's about, but we have a group way behind at the start. Well, that's strange. Hopefully you weren't on the outside line, but Connor Zilic is ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen. And I'm considering, out of fairness, throwing a yellow flag to try to correct that once they get to the line. Competition caution, maybe. 'Cause that's quite strange. I don't know why I did that. So I think race control's gonna throw a competition caution once Armstrong gets back to the line. To try to rebunch the field back up. So I guess it just doesn't like over 4 miles tracks, because this is what it did at the bend, but way less way less extreme there. So Van Gisbergen going to be trying to hold on to third place here as they get to the line. He's on the hard tires. He is going to hang on as Armstrong going to get to the line. A yellow flag going to be thrown here to try to right the wrongs of whatever that start was. So yeah, whole outside line doesn't go besides Shane Van Gisbergen. So 16th on back is everyone that qualified on the outside line. Sometimes iRacing bugs out to where the whole outside line doesn't go. But it double bugged. Double bugged there, so we're gonna throw a yellow and correct that. So they're gonna meet up with the pace car. That flagger is not putting in a lot of juice. This track might have an ancient evil. They'll be behind the pace car. So we're gonna have to see if anyone's gonna take pit stop here. Doesn't look like anyone is going for it. So we actually do have a couple stoppers at the back. Benjamin Peterson has came in. Winner in season 3, Miles Rowe and Glover Lore will come in. Those are the only 3 takers. We'll be going green next time. Hopefully all the cars actually go this time. So just to recap, as the start was a bit strange, Marcus Armstrong, furthest car up on the mediums, Alessio Deletta made his way up to 7th. He's on the mediums. Chet Jordan, first of the cars that got hosed on the outside line. Strange outside line glitch that doesn't happen super often, but happens every so often, that maybe qualifying 4th is a bit of a curse. But usually they still recover and finish, like, at the end of all that, come out like 8th. This time they just got absolutely hosed. But he's got some work to do. There's a couple cars in front of him that are a bit slower. They might be able to pick off. Foster and Pin, Priest, also going to be trying to carve their way forward. Field has been shuffled around. Let's see what happens on the restart. Pace car gonna pull into the pits. And green flag, Marcus Armstrong gonna get good acceleration off the final turn. And it looks good from here. Connor Zilic gonna be in second, Van Gisbergen in third, a couple moves back here. Lawless Allen late into the braking. Gonna try and dive bomb up the inside of Alessio Deletta for 7th. Connor Zilic gonna be getting a huge slipstream down the Kemmel straight. Justin Allgaier all over the back of his teammate, Shane Van Gisbergen. But here comes Zilic looking for the lead. He is on the soft tires, so he's got to be aggressive here to make the most out of him. In the back, you can see Allgaier trying to make a move on his teammate. And Zilic going to go around the outside and will take the lead. Van Gisbergen hung on to third. Armstrong going to stay on the back of Connor Zilic to make sure he doesn't get away. Chet Jordan only able to pick off one position at the start, moved up to 15th. Still very much in the Hornet's nest back here. The field's been shuffled around. A lot of cars in strange places. Although that makes the results look a little weird. Provides good entertainment. Armstrong still on the back of Connor Zilic. Could make a move into the bus stop chicane if he really wanted to. All over the back of the number 9. Gonna try and peek to the outside here. Just not quite able to. Connor Zilic gonna lead the first green flag lap. Van Gisbergen, Allgaier, and Siegel backed up. As in the back, we have a crash. One car upside down. That is the 64 of Ryan Priest. And we are immediately back under yellow. Tough break for Ryan Priest. Something has gone wrong in the chicane. The battling Carlos Huertas. Did Huertas take out another car? Yes, he did. Onto the curb, into his teammate, Lindsey Brewer. This is 2 races in a row where Carlos Huertas has hit the 64. Robbie Lohr and Ethan Martz gonna get screwed over there, but no one gonna get as screwed as the 64. So already back under yellow. These are long yellows. This race may be a while. .47 of Lindsey Brewer trying to limp it back. But yeah, that is 2 straight races. We're on the first true green flag lap. Huertas has taken out another car. that he may be under a bit of scrutiny. Already on lap 8 of 25 here. Second yellow flag. Oh man. Grand-Prix already back out on track as if nothing happens. He is unfortunately already one lap down, but if another yellow flag happens, he will get his lap back. We're still waiting for the 47 to limp back to the pits, which surprisingly seems to be more killed than the 64 car that got flipped over. Gonna have to see who hits the pits this time. Dawa Tenzin gonna lead a few cars in from 20th on grid. DeFrancesco, Peterson, Glubler, Rowe, Robbie, and Martz all gonna pit here. Ryan Preece already no longer in last as he got by Lindsey Brewer, who's now in last. Let's see if we can actually stay green this time. So first yellow was basically a competition. Yellow, after whatever that was. Second crash, Carlos Huertas hops a curb into the 64, who then hits the 47. Ryan Preece is back out there. Lindsey Brewer is not. Came into this race ninth in points. Definitely might fall out of the top 10 after today. Connor Zilic took the lead on Marcus Armstrong on the restart. Now he's going to have the honors of leading the field back to green. Hopefully we can get some laps in. A couple guys went bold on the restart, but 92 of Lawless Allen moved his way up to 7th after dive bombing from, I believe, 11th. Gained a few spots into turn 1. And sometimes that'll be all you need. As let's get ready to go back green. Pace car is going to pull off, and Connor Zilic will lead us back to green. Accelerates well, but the 33 is right behind him. Van Gisbergen didn't get too good of a restart. Not a lot of cars popping out of line this time. As Armstrong going to try and chase Zilic down into Eau Rouge and up towards Radion. Armstrong going to try and pop to the outside. See if he can make it work around the outside. Makes it look easy. Armstrong back to the lead. Started on pole. Hasn't been able to lead much. Guy Gagné is up to 4th. He gained a few spots on that restart. Van Gisbergen hanging on back there in 3rd. Gonna have to see if the hard tires are better than the soft tires at this point. The soft tires haven't gotten much running in. top three pretty much all on top of each other. Jet Jordan, he's moved his way up to 13th. Still the highest of those guys that were screwed over at the start. But Connor Zilic all over the back of the 33. Going into the bus stop chicane. Gonna try and look around the outside, not gonna be able to get there. As Van Gisbergen gonna pull off. First car to pit under green. We're gonna have to see where this will put him. Gagne gonna follow him. A lot of guys coming in. Don't know what the point would be when we just came back from yellow, but a lot of cars deciding to come in. We're going to have to see where that cycles them out in the race. But Armstrong and Zilic chase each other up towards Radion once again and down the Kemmel Straight. Here goes the number 9, going to try and look around the outside. And it's going to work again this time. Back here, Nolan Siegel going to go for third. And he's going to pull it off on Justin Allgaier. But another lead change. Every time they go down the Kemmel Straight, the lead has changed at this so far. Van Gisbergen comes out well back in 23rd, but he is in some clean traffic, which may help when the 9 and 33 have to come in. Van Gisbergen trying to go to the end on softs. That's going to be quite an uphill task. Strategy looks very strange at this point in the race. A lot still to be determined. Armstrong all over the back of Zilic. As he's going to shoot around the outside. He's going to pull it off. First time a pass for the lead in the bus stop chicane. Let's go on board with Zilic from here down to the Kemmel Straight. We have an incident back here. The 7 of Carlos Huertas is backwards in the middle of the circuit. As still hasn't been able to get back going. He goes back now to the 7. Whatever happened, he got karma from the earlier incident as Connor Zilic, we see, retakes the lead. Fortunately, we weren't unable to watch. That 7 has really been a menace these first few races. A little bit of movement back here, but the 9 and 33 have looked very even. We're going to have to see when the medium tire advantage will kick in over Connor Zilic on the softs. They're pulled out to a 4-second lead over Nolan Siegel, who's back in 3rd. He's gotten a little bit away from Allgaier and Deletta. Deletta, the 2nd highest car on the mediums. 3rd highest car on the mediums is Francesco Draconi. Let's go on board with a 33 this time. Man, look at how powerful that draft is. And the 33 gonna pull to the outside. And the number 9's just gonna have to watch him go around the outside. The outside definitely the preferred lane into that turn. Siegel's been really defensive on the outside lane into that turn. For the first time, Armstrong has pulled out a little bit of a gap on the number 9, up to about 1.2 seconds through those turns. Could be significant. We're coming up on halfway in the race already. The soft tires, with the help of the yellow flags, have been able to stretch their legs. Gonna have to see when the number 9 will come in. But if I'm him, I'd come in now. As Armstrong, for some reason, is gonna come in before him on the mediums. Bold from the 33. Gonna have to see if it plays out, but the number 9 on the softs is going to stay out longer. We're going to have to see if Armstrong can undercut. We'll also have to see where he's going to come out in terms of the number 1 of Shane Van Gisbergen. There's Armstrong, and here is the number 1 going down the straightaway. Whoa, this is a huge cluster. Armstrong going to come out right next to him, and they're going to be side by side going into the Kemmel Straight. Sorry, Eau Rouge. Armstrong on the softs, Van Gisbergen on the softs. But Armstrong going to have better tires. What a mess of cars this is. And we don't know who can actually make it to the end at this point. So everything is still pretty wide open. Could we get a surprise winner? Whoa, the 33 gets very close to the 53. Into Pouon, Van Gisbergen trying to make a move on the 76 of Ethan Martz. Can't quite get that done. Everyone in the top 10 has not pit yet. Foster is now the best of the cars that got dinged at the start, as here comes Connor Zilich. We're going to have to see where he comes out. Everyone coming in back here. Going to have to see if anyone decides to stay out and take the lead. No, everyone coming in. DeFrancesco is going to be the first car that decides to stay out, as the 33 and the 53 have gone around. Marcus Armstrong is in the grass, and they got to wait for cars to go by. But all of a sudden, Marcus Armstrong is in trouble. And the 7 is also right there. Oh, and the 33 is going to run into the 7. And that's going to be a yellow flag. Yellow flag as the 33 of Marcus Armstrong gets tied up in an accident with the 53. Gonna have to see what caused this. So oh, 53 does a late move, hits the curb, and that's gonna spin around the 33. And they almost got it back going, but then the 53 parks himself in front of Armstrong. But that does benefit Connor Zilich, as he was able to come out ahead of the number 1. He's going to be going to the end on softs. The 53 is in pit lane, but 33 of Marcus Armstrong in pit lane. If he can hurry up and get out there quickly, he can stay on the lead lap. But it just doesn't seem like he's going to be able to. He did get some side pod damage and wing damage. as Armstrong is actually being listed as out of the race at this point. Tough break for the 33 team. Nothing they really could have done in that situation. Currently on lap 16 of 25, under 10 laps to go. We're going to be restarting with 8 to go. Surprisingly, 75 is going to stay out, which is quite interesting. Has gone 8 laps on the stint. Zilich, by far on the best tires out of anyone, should be able to cut through. But will he be able to? '64 Ryan Priest trying to get by to get the lucky dog. So pretty much the whole field, besides a couple cars, are going to be on the softs. The only two I can see that are on the mediums are Robbie back in 6th and Martz in 7th. We could be in for an interesting top 10 if this race shakes out like how it is. I mean, it's already been an interesting race in general. Ryan Priest not going to be able to catch up to the field in time, so he's going to hope that there's another yellow. So Devlin DiFrancesco, Dawa Tenzin, your top two coming to green here. Neither have ever won a race. DiFrancesco's only got one podium. Glubler in 3rd. He has never gotten a win. Peterson only has one win, and it came at Spa. Zilich only has one win. Robbie has one win. So a lot of interesting faces up here at the front. We're going to have to see how it shakes out as we go back to green. 8 laps to go. Van Gisbergen in the middle of the pack here. He's trying to move forward. Connor Zilich trying to move forward. He's going to try and make a move on Peterson going into Eau Rouge. On the inside, he's going to get that. He's up into 4th. Glubler Lord looking at 2nd place here. It's been a miserable season for the Magenta Trees outside the podium for Stingray at Michigan. So he would love a good result, but Connor Zilich bold on the outside. He's going to take 3rd place. The number 9 is absolutely flying right now, as he's going to be all over the back of Dawa Tenzin. Shane Van Gisbergen only able to make up one spot at the restart. He sits down in 8th. As Zilich looking like he wants to make a move into Puon, can't quite get it. Tenzin has now fallen a 2.5 behind the 75 of DiFrancesco. Pretty slow section. Pretty slow exit for the 94. This is where a lot of trouble has happened today. A couple guys going to make some late moves. The 29 is going to hop a curb, and so is the 18. A couple cars pulled off. Peterson, Van Gisbergen, some of them. Gagne, Allen, and Rob also have to come in, as we do have a car stuck on top of another car. It's the 43 of Dorian Pin on top of Chet Jordan. Are they going to be able to figure this out, or is this going to be a 4th yellow flag on the day? As it will be another yellow flag. What happened this time? So Chet Jordan, he's all the way up here. As look at the 54, he just completely dive bombs. Gonna hit the 24, and then the 43 is gonna hit the back wheel of Chet Jordan. They're going to be on top of each other. Man, just a lot of amateur mistakes being done by drivers today, and Chet Jordan, both Silly Men racing cars, going to be victims of not very smart moves. Dorian Pin also had to tow, but Van Gisbergen, Peterson, Gagne, Allen, and Robb all had to pit. They could not make it to the end on the soft tires, which they were on for a very good while. Zilich on one of the best tires out there, so is his teammate Nolan Siegel back in 7th. Viking Racing, it's been a strange day, but right now it's looking like it could be the best day for you. But Masters of Motors has a car in the lead, but he has a long way to make it to the end here. So right now, on lap 20 of 25, looks like we'll be going back green with 4 laps to go. There's another accident. That might be the end of the race. Gonna have to see how it goes. Gonna have to see if anyone's gonna pit here, or if this is gonna be the order that they're gonna restart. Looks like all the leaders are gonna stay out, except for the 76 and the 18. The only 2 cars on the mediums are not gonna be able to make it to the end like this. Miles Rowe also gonna come in. Draconi gonna come in. Peterson, Van Gisbergen again, for some reason, coming in. Strategy is just completely out the window today. We'll be going back green with 4 to go. About to get ready to go back to green with only 4 laps left. If a yellow comes out, that might be the end. So everyone's got to try and go for whatever they can here. Everything is wide open. Your points leader all the way down in 20th. Di Francesco, Tenzin, no wins. Zilich has not won in well over a season. Viking Racing winless on the season. Right now he looks like he is the quickest. Gonna have to see how it all plays out here in the end. And can some of these guys even make it to the end on their tires? Can they make it to the end on fuel? Gonna have to see. Pace car will pull off this time. And the green flag is back out here at Spa. Good restart for the 75, but 94 going to try and chase him down. Dawa Tenzin trying to look at Team Canada Drive's first podium, but Connor Zilich going to go around the outside. Big move by the number 9 into turn 1. And that's going to work out well for him. He's into second now. It's actually 5 laps to go. I was wrong on my count, so if there is a yellow, there is a small chance that we'll be able to restart. Tenzin in third, Glubler in fourth. They're all going to be bunched up going down the Kemmel Straight. As into Lake Home, and it's going to be Zilich who takes the lead. Glubler trying to go for third, and he's going to get it. Tenzin slipping backwards. He's falling down to sixth. Big shakeups up at the front, but Zilich is clear by a second already. The 75 is taken off. Glubler in third, looking at his first podium of the season. DeFrancesco looking at his first podium of the season. A lot of drivers in some very good spots. This is what a strange strategy day can do. Give some relief to some drivers who need it. 2.4 second lead for Zilich already. This is a blisteringly quick lap. He was well and away on the best tires. DeFrancesco holding on to second. Glubler, his third place is going to be under attack by Justin Allgaier. And Nolan Siegel. Siegel going to pop out. And he's going to spin. And the 75 and 00 come in. And now we've got to stack up in the chicane. The number 19 going to get out of the way. But DeFrancesco and Glubler could not make it to the end. And now Allgaier sits second, Hubbard third, as Tenzin is in the wall. Seems like he has missed pit entry or something, as he just hit the tire barrier again. And that right there is going to be a yellow. Don't know what that was, but the 94 is on his back. This could be the end of the race. We're going to have to see. I think he was trying to get into pit lane. His dumb little AI brain couldn't wrap his head around it. So the 19 tries a dive bomb move. It doesn't work out. He goes around, falls all the way back to 19th. Two Viking racing cars look to be on the podium if this is how it ends. David Malukas would get his best result of the season in fourth. Raghunathan, I think this would be Team Canada Dry's best result ever, with seventh. He can bring it home. Huertas in eighth despite everything would be quite crazy. But what lap is it now? This is 2 laps to go, so this will be the end of the race. All they gotta do is bring it back around. Here they come to the white flat. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding. You've gotta be kidding. You cannot. And just like that, the number 9 throws away a victory on the last lap. Uh, I genuinely don't have any words. What just happened? Why did that happen? I think legitimately the number 9 ran out of fuel, which means the 14 is basically limping to the end right now as everyone in the top 7 pit on the same lap. Zilich has dropped down to 17th. He won't make it to the end. Well, he will make it to the end, just not in first. And it looks like Swindlers of the Immortals are going to go 7 for 9. If Justin Allgaier can bring this back around, it would be his first career victory. Not necessarily the proudest victory in a whatever kind of race that was. I And this is to say that he doesn't just come in on the last lap, because he has done that before. The Viking Racing went from 2 cars on the podium to just 1 car on the podium. Brendan Hubbard gonna bring home a second. Siegel 14th, Zilich 17th, and Gagne 18th. If these guys can't make it to the end on fuel, the best guy on fuel would be Miles Rowe back in 8th. Eventide Racing needed a good result. Barbershop Haircut Racing also needed a good result. They're looking at a 7th. I've only seen the leader pit on the last lap like that once, and that goes all the way back to Monza Season 2 with Stingray Robb. Now, what would be incredibly funny, maybe unfortunate, but a bit funny, would be if the 14 comes in right at the end. I mean, I guess the 9 did push. Why is it showing us under yellow? I think we are well aware. But here we come to the checkered flag. And the 14 of Justin Allgaier, in the strangest circumstances, is going to get his first career win. Swindlers of the Immortals are going to go 7 for 9 to open the season. Brendan Hubbard going to take second, and then David Malukas going to get third, which that is a result he very much needed. So let's take a look at your official results. I believe these are your official, yes, they are your official results. Justin Allgaier gonna win this bizarre race over Brendan Hubbard, who's gonna be the best result for the team somehow. David Malukas comes home third. That's a result he very much needed. Louis Foster going to come home fourth. Team Canada Dry going to have their best result ever, as Raghunathan's going to come home fifth. Carlos Huertas will take back-to-back sixth-place finishes. Hulkenberg going to take a seventh, which is Barbershop Haircut Racing's best result of the season, and Hulkenberg's best result. Miles Rowe going to return to the top 10 in eighth. Peterson ninth. And then Shane Van Gisbergen, your points leader, gonna come out of all the chaos in 10th. 11th will be Alessio Deletta. 12th will be teammate Francesco Draconi. Somehow Ryan Preece flipped at the very beginning of this race and finishes 13th. Nolan Siegel will take 14th. Glover Lord, Devlin DeFrancesco, they had to pit near the end. They'll take 15th, 16th. Zilic pit at the very end and drops from 1st to 17th. That's going to be tough to get over. 18th for Gagne, 19th for Robbie, 20th Stingray, 21st Lawless Allen, 22nd Ethan Martin, and all your cars that finished laps down. Chet Jordan, 23rd. Dawa Tenzin flipped himself over at the end. He comes home 24th. Lindsey Brewer, 25th. Dorian Pinn, 26th. Armstrong, 27th. And then McCarr that wiped him out. McStinkle going to come home in last. A strange race for sure in the second race of our European leg this season. Up next, we go to Zandvoort in the Netherlands. First time we've been to the Netherlands. Hopefully that's a bit more of a normal race. Qualifying will be on Friday, race on Saturday.